Yes.
Jesus.
Expedient.com.
Our ideal candidate will be strong in recruiting and relationship building, player development, excels in X's and O's, and has the overall ability to lead this historic program. There will be plenty of rumors out there during this process. Next time I talk publicly will be to announce our new coach. If you don't hear it from me, don't believe it.
Ah.
Roll Tide.
So he's like putting that out there, like, hey, if I don't say it, you ain't
Quiet.
you ain't hearing it.
Yeah.
So I like hearing that, though. I mean, I do like hearing that.
It's time to speculate, though, and I think the arrow is pointing two directions, really.
I would agree with you there.
Somewhere in the Pacific Northwest
Most
and
of us.
somewhere about 200 miles away. Don't tell Greg Byrne I said that, but
No, you didn't hear that from me, cuz. But that's certainly it. So, welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. Obviously, the news of the day is the GOAT saying farewell. So we're going to burn on it here right now. All right. So, very bittersweet day today as the GOAT has called it quits. So Fonz and I decided to jump on here and give some reaction and some instant reactions, some thoughts. Very bittersweet day. I think we talked about earlier, Fonzie. We kind of all knew we were closer to this day than we were further from it. And just actually hearing it happen and really happen is you just still can't really believe it's real, but here we are.
Yep. No, it's very weird. I can't remember a time really with any other coach at Alabama, certainly since I've been a fan of Alabama. I think I was 9 years old when he was hired. So,
wow.
I was just really getting into the sport.
So you're a 9-year-old from Pittsburgh, right? So
yeah, a 9-year-old from Pittsburgh. So
what is Saban even on your radar at that moment, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know college football without him.
Right.
Just to leave it succinctly. I was speechless. I didn't know how I'd react when the day finally came, but it's pretty weird to
I didn't either.
not really know how to react at all.
I didn't know how to react. I was in denial, severe denial from the time I read your text until the time I accepted it. I was in severe denial. Like everybody that texts me, I'm going, nope. Till you hear it from him, it's all just writers. Till you hear it from him. Did he say it? Did Nick say it himself? Did he say it? Not yet? Okay, then. I ain't believing it. But like I said earlier, it's like the more that starts getting out there, the more people that are reporting it, the more stories that are happening. You turn on Sports Center and there's a whole Tom Rinaldi piece on it already. So it's like, all right, this is must be real. Son of a. So here we go. Uncharted waters for a lot of people.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed it. There'll never be another one like him.
Exactly. I was about to say, Bama Nation needs to sit back and close their eyes and reflect on what we've just lived through for the past 17 seasons. It will not ever happen like that again, the way college football is going. You will never see a run like this. Like in my opinion, I don't think you'll ever see a run like this of 10-win seasons, of draft picks, of championships, of that long of a career. I don't think you'll see a 17-year run from somebody.
No.
I mean, Kirby's about halfway there now. And the NFL is going to come calling him at some point, or Alabama's going to call him, or already has.
I mean, especially.
What's up, Franklin? Sorry, Fonz. Oh, Franklin, what's up, dude? Good to see you, buddy.
I used to work with landscape, NIL, all of that.
Yes,
it's going to be near impossible. And Saban, I think, just over that time evolved with the game, and that's what's going to make him so special. I mean, obviously the accomplishments and the record,
right?
All of that is incredible. I don't think many people are going to come close to that either. But I mean, he evolved with the game for so long, and he's not an old school coach necessarily, but he's been doing it for a long time. So that's a testament to him. He's a legend. So
I think they said 50 years he's been involved in coaching. 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not 50. I'm 40. How old I am? I'm 47. I'll be 48 in August. So he's been coaching longer than I've been alive. That's nuts. And at a high level. I mean, it's not like the Joe Paterno years where he's losing 5 games and he's he's just sitting up in the booth, with his depends on, I mean, like he's still at the highest level competing for championships in the playoffs.
And I mean, what a year.
What a year. I mean, maybe he knew all along. There was that interesting conversation between him and Kirby Smart before the Georgia game where they were chit-chatting before the game and said something. And Kirby, they were talking and Kirby said, man, I just thanks for everything you ever did for me, coach, or something like. I mean, it was just a weird vibe to that conversation, almost like this is the last time we're going to compete against each other. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you for all you've done for me, coach. That's the kind of the way it felt when I saw that interaction. Like that seemed more than just a coach banter before a game. That had some finality to it, almost like, it's been a hell of a time competing against you. The privilege was mine.
Yeah,
that's what that vibe I got. So it's definitely a bittersweet day, but Bama Nation needs to sit back and reflect on how good we've had it. And if you think about it, we were a bounce or two away from winning 4 more in his tenure.
Just about.
Just about. Yeah. Yo, there's Parker.
How about it, gentlemen?
What's up, dude? We're just reflecting on this tenure of the GOAT and how Bama Nation needs to sit back and reflect on what we've lived through for the past 2 decades for the most part.
Grateful, I think, is in gratitude.
Yeah, I would say that. I would agree with that.
They went live. I'm just joining for a little bit. But
definitely shocking.
Yeah, because it was the Saban news. Yeah, just the look of love. It's just great. As far as it goes, I mean, it's probably already been said. Is it sad? Yeah, but it's more. You need to celebrate it more so.
Yeah.
Be as I said, be grateful, show gratitude as far as it goes, because this is what we're going to be telling our kids. We're going to be talking about. I mean, everybody's got their stories about Coach Bryant. Everybody knew where they were when he retired and when he passed. People will remember this, but they'll also remember, all the good memories too. And now, I know everybody's talking about all the craziness, what's going to happen. We can talk about that next week. Really, whoever's going to be the next coach, that's, they are in a better position than when Saban got there. So
absolutely. I mean, look at LSU is still relevant because of what Saban did there 20 years ago, and the what he built there 20 years ago. They're still relevant. They're still a threat.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
Like his it will carry on, and that they're not going to hire, like you said, Fonzie. They're going to hire a top 5, top 10 coach. They're going to hire. It's not going to be some unknown. They're not going to roll the dice on a coordinator. They're going to hire somebody.
And I know,
yeah,
I know some of the names out there. I'm still seeing that Bill O'Brien was in like the number 5 or 6 pick, and I was literally throwing up in my mouth when I saw that. I was like, if if you want to set back everything that Saban did in a short amount of time and set the program
hire that
back
man.
15 years,
Yeah,
hire that guy. He is a king for doing it.
franchise killer. Go look at Cruz Oxenrider's Twitter feed when somebody posted something about Bill O'Brien being a candidate. Read his response.
He's not. He's just not.
Absolutely
he was
not.
Sent out of town. It's
absolutely not.
Someone who put that out there
is having fun.
They're either having fun or they're clueless. It's either or. I don't know. There's no way he's going to be back at Alabama in any capacity.
In any capacity. They won't even let him pass through there. What's that?
I said I don't even want him there as a possible fan or a observer.
I don't even want him passing through town. Even if he's on a bus passing through town going somewhere. I don't even want that. Like, stay away. Stay away, stay away. Stay away, stay away. So Parker, who's your candidate? Who's your guy?
See, I know y'all been going on for about 11 minutes here already. I've had 3 or 4 different people reach out to me and call me saying, "What do you think about this? What is this?" Well, I think you'd be crazy not to, talk with the obvious people. I mean, you obviously give a call to Kirby, even though I think he will never leave Georgia unless it's in a terrible, if the program's in disarray and he's doing terrible, then I could see him getting fired. But no, I don't see him leaving.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Give him a call. But my top 2, I would probably say Dan Lanning from Oregon. He is a Saban disciple. On that,
he was a GA on the 15 staff, by the way.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
So there's some familiarity there.
And the other one, and I know this will make a lot of the Hotty Toddy Nation a little upset, would be Lane Kiffin.
I think that's a possibility as well. As long as who doesn't come back with him. I think he's a legit candidate.
I don't think Pete would come with him. I really don't. I hope
you're right. I hope
not a betting man, but
more than anything, you are right about that.
How far does this retirement talk go back? I think that's a big thing too. Is Pete Golding going over to Ole Miss at that time? Was it more of like a favor? You look at it, you could always come up with these kind of questions. Be like, well, maybe he did it for a reason to help Saban at least, alleviate that issue. I don't know. It's all circumstantial and all, theoretical. We don't know. They've really, if it's been kept as quiet as I've been told, they've really, the staff and everybody has kept it under wraps for quite a while. And that just goes to show that, what he created around him, the trustworthy people that he created around him too, not to get any kind of information about possible retirement or anything. But
well, and I think that he didn't strike me as a guy that would just show up one day and I'm out.
He's
had
a plan.
Right.
Had a plan
Thank
for
you.
a long time.
Like, this has been in the works for a while, I think. Like, I agree with you, Fonzie. This is not. He didn't just walk in the complex today and drop the bombshell on the whole athletic department.
Right.
No, yeah.
Like he's leaving this place pretty primed for the next guy to come in, and I believe they already know who it is. I believe they've already got him. I believe he's already agreed. I believe everything's already worked out. I just think they're holding on the announcement for something.
Yeah.
What that is, I don't know.
Part of it. 100%. Yes. He was sitting in the interview room, picking his guy, laying out the plan for the future. Like,
I think you're absolutely.
It's always been this way. Every part of the program,
meticulous,
had complexity, process, all these things. There's no way that's gone away.
Totally agree.
So we'll see who it is. But
Agreed.
I really do think it's 2 guys. It's down to 2 guys. The writing's on the wall. I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to speculate.
Are you saying it's down to Lanning and Kiffin?
100%. I could be wrong, but I really think if
it ended up being Lane, that's because I know.
Lanning makes the most sense, in my opinion. Well, Lane does too, obviously, but I don't know, man. It's tough to choose between those two. I mean, Lane had a great season. He lost to the two best teams in the league. But he won 11-2 with Ole Miss. That's saying something.
Yep. And Lanning's done a great job too. I think I'd prefer him. He's young.
Yeah.
They both use the portal very well. They understand the current state of college football, which is huge for both of them as candidates. But I just think Lanning is coming from Oregon. That's a big battle in and of itself. And you better pony up. Oregon's going to match just about whatever you can offer. Realistically, I mean, they have more resources than just about anyone outside of maybe Texas.
Outside of Texas teams, Texas schools.
So I just, like I said, I think it's more of a challenge to get them. I think Alabama's probably a better job in the long run, but does he want to have to follow Nick Saban?
That's the question. I mean, ideally, you want to follow the guy that follows the guy.
Right.
I think this will be a testament to character. If you show that you take it by the reins, be like, I am going to be the guy after the guy. Yeah. I am going to be the guy who replaced the GOAT.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
Why not me? Right? But let's ride. Let's go.
Well, boys, I know it was short. I've got to head out here. All I've got to say.
Glad you popped in and got your opinion in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, all I can say is this. Gratitude, be grateful. Made a lot of memories, a ton of memories over the last 17 years. All I can say is, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. And, just everybody just keep a positive mindset. You probably will never see anything like what Saban did ever again, because that's just not – that's
not the landscape anymore.
Yeah, it's not. So all I got to say is just roll tide, guys. Roll tide.
All right. Good to see you, Maverick.
Yeah, roll tide.
So, so it's – I wonder how long they're going to wait, really, before we announce. I wonder what dominoes have to – or what things have to line up before they can officially say, here's the guy.
I don't know. I think it's probably sooner rather than later.
So they can't wait too long.
Dead period, obviously. National championship was Monday. Most of these guys are just, I don't want to say relaxing, but they're not in full gear right now. So I think the transition will be quick, real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I like that Lanning was here a year as a GA, so there's familiarity on both sides with Nick, with the team, with the culture, with the atmosphere. There's familiarity there, even with Lane too. So, both those guys, if it's one or the other, both those guys have familiarity, and I don't know, man. I get myself psyched up for Lanning, but then at the same time, I start thinking about Lane, and I'm like, I've wanted Lane all along. Would being at Alabama finally put him over the hump? Ole Miss, he beats everybody but the top two teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the James Franklin thing where you win 10, 11 games every year, but you lose to, Michigan and Ohio State every single year.
Yep.
And it's like, is that because you just can't get over that hump at Ole Miss? It's just not a place you can do it at. And if you put him in Alabama, he would be able to get over that hump. Or is that Lane's peak? Is, just on the cusp? Is that Lane's peak?
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
So hard to tell. There's so many ifs.
I think right now, and people just want to say it's the end because they're sick of Alabama, and I might just be a Bammer, but I just think
that's what the
state of the program right now is too good for someone like Lane Kiffin not to at least succeed. I'm not saying he's going to meet the Saban standard. Everyone's going to expect that. I don't think that's going to
Nobody ever will get there.
but I think he could do very, very good things at Alabama with our recruiting, our resources, if he brings in the right coaches. And it's hard, but it's almost easier at Alabama too. Like he's going to get a lot more of the guys he wants because it's Alabama. At Ole Miss, if you want one of these top guys, you got to go out there and you got to pull them from Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State.
Right.
When you're one of the big dogs, it's a little easier.
You got to keep them. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Is keeping them as opposed to chasing them.
100%. And I think the portal, he's done a great job, obviously, and just plugged holes through that. But I think the recruiting will just continue at a pretty consistent level to what we've seen. I mean, I don't think we're going to have number one class after number one class, but we'll be right in the top 5, I think, with
we'll be in the
Kiffin
mix.
Certainly, and Lanning. I think it's almost definite.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like the Nate Oates factor where Kiffin can just go in and show you his offense if you're an offensive player, and he doesn't really even have to talk.
Yeah.
Just say, here's our offense. Take a look at it.
Yep.
If you're an offensive player, it's kind of like Nate Oates when he goes into a shooter's house and says, here's our offense. We shoot 43s a game. Any questions? Nope. When's the first practice?
Yep.
It's like
they write their name on that piece of paper.
Yep.
John Hancock right there.
Right then. They say, you mean we're going to shoot 43s a game? Just about. So yeah, man, uncharted waters for a lot of people, for oldies like me that live through the mics and Coach Fran and all that fluff. Something we've been able to relax on for the last 2 decades, but now, we're kind of ripping off an old wound, but the program now is much better. When Saban was hired, that was like the home run swing. It was, all the ones that were rumored beforehand were Rich Rod, Mike Riley. It's better than what we just got rid of, but And then my dad told me that he thought it was going to be Saban, and I was like, you are crazy. There's no way that guy's leaving the NFL to come to this dumpster fire. No chance. And, shows you what I know. So, but this time around, I feel like, okay, Bama can almost sit back and go, all right, these are the 3 guys we want to talk, we want, and surely they're not going to get a no from 3 of the top coaches, despite their situation. Oregon's a great situation. Endless money, nice stadium, the only game in town.
Yep.
Ole Miss, a lot of money in Oxford. You're a megastar in Oxford already, but it ain't Bama. So
I just think, and I sound like a parrot, but I think the era's, I've always been a Lane Kiffin, like he's going to be the next coach.
Yeah.
At least for the past 2 years. I just think, and this is all speculation, of course. I don't have sources. I never did. But I just think the relationship we've had, they're friends. Not that that's why Kiffin would get the job, but I just think they have a very strong relationship. They understand each other. I think Kiffin has a great appreciation for the University of Alabama and Saban, obviously. And I think he wants to carry on that legacy the best he can. And that's all you can ask for. True. He's one of the best coaches. He is.
That's true.
He really is. So
he's a lot better than he was. Like Kiffin has really grown and become an elite coach, become a very, very good coach, capable of succeeding Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody that you look on a list, you can say that guy's capable of succeeding Nick Saban. But I think Kirby could. I think Lanning could. I think Lane could succeed him and succeed and not have that huge fall off like the Larry Coker fall off, and the Butch Davis fall, the guys that peak early with whatever. And then in year 3 and 4, when it's their team, they're losing 4 or 5 games a year. Right. I just don't see that happening. I think the foundation's too strong. And if if Lane gets it, we're always going to if Lane is the next guy, we will always have elite offenses.
Always.
As long as he's there. Our defense might not be the vintage Saban 2016, 2011 units, but our offenses every year that Lane is here, if he's the guy, will be some of the best in the nation. They'll always be ranked around the top. He'll always get good offensive players.
Yep. Easy.
In that system. So
I do think, though, just talking about expectations, we're going to have to get used to the 4-loss season or the 5-loss season once a decade. I
agree.
Maybe once a decade, but
that's funny you mentioned that.
I'm just saying right now it's and not like Larry Coker where it was great, and then
just fell right off.
Mediocrity, but
yeah.
You're gonna see 11-2 to 9-4 or something. It's gonna happen. We're back to reality.
I mean, it happened to Nick everywhere he was until he got to Alabama. But, Nick had several 4 or 5 loss seasons along the way.
Yep.
It just wasn't until he got to Bama that 2 losses was like, well, Bama had a down year.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, this year was, certainly a testament to Nick Saban because of how we started and where we got. But, man.
He should have gotten more run for Coach of the Year.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, this year.
I mean, they somehow overachieved, which is crazy to say for an Alabama team, but I never thought would be a 4-loss team under him. I never thought we would be this year, but beating Georgia and making it to the college football playoff is just it's incredible.
Nobody had that at the beginning of the season. I don't care what anybody tells you. Nobody picked Alabama to win the SEC and be in the playoffs this year.
Certainly not after week 2. I mean,
and definitely not after week 2, or especially not after week 3.
Yeah.
We were all like, they're left them for dead. Everybody left us for dead, including me. I didn't think we had a championship run in us after that game.
No.
Remember how Saban looked walking into the locker room that rainy day? He just looked like he wanted to die. I was like, this is going to be a long year. I looked at my family and I was like, this is going to be a long season, man. Like, he sees the writing on the wall that this team's just not very good. And to their credit. So
he got him there.
I think this is a perfect team for him to walk away from, regardless of the Michigan outcome.
Mm-hmm.
I think the growth in the team and the way some of the guys grew on the team into leaders and whatnot, I think this is one of his proudest teams that he's the most proud of.
I'm glad you said that because I think we were lacking for a couple years. Not because of Nick Saban or any of that, but we were lacking some of the culture that made past teams so great. I don't know the reason for it. It may just be, the era we're in. It's changed so quickly, but this year just felt, even though the team may have not been as good as in years past, it just felt like culture was back. The players bought in. And I think that may bleed over into the next coach where we don't see a ton of guys leaving. I think a lot of guys have bought into the program, have bought into being at Alabama, which is
agreed
incredible for us.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that there was a big shift back this year to physical toughness, to violent intentions on the field, obviously. That was lacking for the last 3 or 4 years defensively was that violent intentions. But the defensive talent, I think, is in a good spot next year. Whoever the defensive coordinator is going to be, we got several openings we got to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins going to A&M was a big factor in Ryan Williams decommitting, he said. Also Saban retiring, obviously, but I think the Holloman Wiggins leaving had something to do with that as well. So, I mean, this waiting until we get these hires is going to kill me.
Me too.
Me
too. That's why I hope it's quick. I think it'll be pretty quick, but man, I don't know. I really don't. I mean,
Ooh.
like I said, everything's speculation right now. So we're hearing Lanning and Lane and whoever else, Sark may be a candidate.
The usual names, yeah.
I keep seeing DeBoer thrown around just because he's the,
he's the recency bias is
right.
The DeBoer stuff.
Right. But, for all we know, they could have interviewed one guy and we don't know who it is, and all the guesses could be wrong. And, we may see Dabo Swinney in front of a podium come Monday.
Oh, Jesus. If that happens, dude, I don't know how I'm going to react to that. No, it won't. I won't have to worry about it because Dabo has refused to adopt to the new culture of football, and Alabama's not going to hire somebody that refuses to acknowledge what's happening.
No, there's no way. It was more just getting you riled up, Jeff. Just getting you riled up. But you're right. It's going to be painful. Even if it's 2 days, it's going to be a long 2 days.
It's going to be a long couple days waiting for this news. And then the initial shock of when it comes out. And then, having to, sigh. Now let's dive into what, really dive into it. So anyway, man, that's just about it for us tonight. I mean, just wanted to get on here and kind of just burn quickly on that news. This is just a bittersweet day, but also a day we can reflect on how good we had it for 2 decades for the most part. And I mean, just go back and look at some of the players that come through here, some of the epic games that have come through here, some of the epic wins we've had since he's been here, just the rebirth of Alabama football we saw take place right in front of our eyes when that man got off that plane. Even when he got off the plane onto the tarmac, you could feel it. You're watching on TV, or I was watching on ESPN News. You just feel when he got off the plane, you just feel a change. You just watching it on TV, you just feel it. It's hard to explain. And then, I worked in Tuscaloosa. I didn't live there, but my job, I traveled. And so one of the places I was working at the time, one of my trips I had to take at the time was to Tuscaloosa for a couple of nights. And just driving through that town, this was like 2 weeks after he got hired. Just driving through that town was just different. You could just feel something different. So that's rare. I don't know that we'll never have that again. So
nope.
Very rare. So, but I'm excited about this hire. I'm almost 100% sure it won't be like a what? They hired who?
Yeah,
I guarantee you that. I almost guarantee you that's not happening.
No way. There's going to be no one's getting pulled out of left field. We're getting one of our top options, and I think, as I said earlier, it's hard to follow Saban, and some guys may not want to do that, but there are plenty of coaches out there that are at the top of this sport that have been waiting for this opportunity.
That would love that job. Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. I think if it's Lanning or Lane, I think you'll hear applause from Bama Nation for either of those guys. If it's one of those two guys, I think that Bama Nation will be extremely happy. And if they're not, I feel bad for them because I think both of those guys would be a win.
Yep.
Big time. So we'll see, man. Next time we convene on Monday night, hopefully we'll have a coach. And hopefully the Steelers will have beaten the Bills in a frigid 0 temperature game.
Yeah, and Najee's going to have to run for 300 yards. But
hey, I'll say this. This is the first time that we've actually – maybe you said this – the first time we've actually gone into the playoffs winning games.
Yeah.
Not losing 4 out of 5 as we go into the wild card round. It's like we've found a little identity running north-south. I mean, Najee had 26 carries the other day. I didn't think we even knew how to do that.
No.
So I think it's going to take another shot like that. Another one of those. Najee's got to go north-south. Every time they try to go edge, it was a bust. So if we stay running him downhill, which is what he can do, I think we got a shot.
I think so too. I'm relatively confident.
Even without TJ.
Even without TJ.
Could there be a more freakish way to lose TJ Watt than that?
I know.
Like, seriously.
It's
always
something.
All the Watt freaky injuries between JJ and TJ, like, as we're walking into the playoffs, his own teammate clips his knee.
Pretty much after the play, too. It's just...
Right. It's just unbelievable. It's like Le'Veon busting his shoulder, or not Le'Veon. Yeah, Le'Veon busting his shoulder in that playoff game against the Ravens or whatever, first playoff game we had him. He busts his shoulder and he's out. And I'm just like, God, why can't, I don't know. Be Nick Herbig time, though, and Marcus Golden. We'll see if those two can at least cause some disruption. But, Allen's a turnover machine. So we're going to have Kazee back. We're going to have Neal back and possibly Minka back. So we're losing TJ, but we're gaining three starters on defense back, hopefully. So, I mean, Buffalo can be had.
I think so, too. And they're almost – they've won 5 straight, but I've always felt, just watching them the past few weeks, that there's a loss coming. Like, they're not
it's
lighting
in there.
The world on fire.
It's in there.
It's just – they're beatable right now. They found a way. They're a very good team, but they can be had. And we have good edge depth.
Yes. Well, you can't throw 2 end zone picks and lose a fumble in one half and win a playoff game. You shouldn't be able to do that. No. Just because Miami, blew chunks and couldn't get a first down in the second half. But if we've learned anything the last 2 weeks, is that Najee running north-south is working. Like, a heavy dose of it is working, and they're going to have it, especially that game against Baltimore, all that crap weather. It's going to be just like that against Buffalo, but worse. So that's a Najee Harris game all day. Put him long cleats on him and let him run downhill, because he's running with a force. I don't know if he's healthy or if he's pissed off or what, but that dude's running with anger.
We have a passing game now, some resemblance of one. That's been huge for both of them. Warren's been good all year, but
thank you.
He's extra explosive now that
when you have to guard the pass.
Yeah.
Mason not throwing for 400 yards, but he's a threat. Like, if you sleep on him, he'll get you. He'll dagger you. Deontay, George Pickens, he'll get you if you sleep on him. So guard the pass and let Najee eat up the middle all day. All day. That's what I say. So hopefully Monday we'll be celebrating a Steelers playoff win, first one in 7 years. Incredible I had to say that, and also we'll be celebrating Alabama's new coach, I hope. So
hope so too.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the comment, Franklin. Good to see you. Parker, thanks for joining. Fonz, thanks for coming on last minute and sharing your opinion. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.